the last thing we want to hit today is the Chicago Cubs and Nolan Arenado. Like, this is something that I don't know if we're just dreaming him out of his team and over to Chicago, because I feel like we touched on this in the Sox previously, and now we're going the Chicago Cubs trying to trade for Nolan Arenado, and this situation where I don't even get it. Like, is this just we've got a name, you've got a name, let's make a deal? Is that what the pairing is, Ricky?
So here's what. First off, the big thing that I'm seeing is that the name that looks intriguing to the Rockies is Wilson Contreras.
Yeah.
And plus the Cubs feeling like they might need to make a gamble or make a deal that's a gamble.
Shake things up a little.
Here's the other thing that worries me, and has nothing to do with the Cubs, but who they play. The Cardinals really want Nolan Arenado. Yep. And I'm in the mindset of just please don't end up in St. Louis. Like, trade him anywhere but St. Louis, because I don't want to see him in a Cardinal uniform, because that would just mean bad news bears for the Cubs.
So basically, if you get into a bidding war, you're going to have to overpay for this guy.
I feel like this may be a little bit too of like, as long whatever he can help us, but as long as he doesn't end up in St. Louis.
Can we set up the rumors first?
Sure.
The biggest thing is recently it was broken by Ken Rosenthal and John Morosi saying that the Rockies would be looking to move Nolan Arenado because he does have a player option in 2 years that it is possible that he declines, and I don't think that they want to pay him the money that they just gave him. They gave him an 8-year, I think $230 million extension. And it also seems that in Colorado there might be talks that Arenado is pushing for this, because the team does seem to be taking a 180 from when he originally signed that deal. So it seems that he wants to be more of a competitor. Right now he's 29 years old, so it seems to make sure that, it kind of makes sense that he kind of wants to hit his window before he gets too old to be the star on a team to hit a championship window. And I think really the rumors are true that I think that he wants out of Colorado, or that a deal is possible to be made. And it seems like Ken Rosenthal thinks that it's not even just, fantasy anymore, that there is a deal that could be made here. And I think the Cubs are connected just because they have assets that are movable that could be intriguing to teams. But I really don't think that they're too involved in these actual deals. I would find it hard that they're really calling the Rockies and being like, hey, we'll trade for Nolan Arenado, because really the whole big issue that we've been talking about is that they want to move away from the salary cap, and they want to get away from the luxury tax, and then you're going to bring in a $230 million contract if he opts into all of those years. I just find that to be very difficult, that's the direction that the Cubs would want to go. And there is talks that it would be, that Bryant could be involved in the deal. There's also talks that it could be Contreras, and you get both Arenado and KB. You move KB to the outfield. I just think this is a thing that would grab Chicago. Hey, Chicago's in trade talks. Rockies are in trade talks. Let's combine them. Let's get the clicks. And I know that people will be like, well, that's, these guys are journalists, Ken Rosenthal, John Morosi, and they are. They're fantastic writers. They're fantastic journalists. But I also don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that it's possible a trade could be made, so I'm not in the wrong of including the Cubs. I think that it is an interesting idea. I don't think writers are against floating ideas that are out there or that could be possible, and I think that's truly what this is. I think Arenado, a trade is possible, and I think with the move with the Cardinals going out and getting Matt Liberatore from the Rays, I think that increases their prospect pool. That obviously makes it more interesting for the Rockies. I just don't think the Rockies are going to be like, okay, let's take Wilson Contreras, although he does have 3 years of control, a 25-year-old catcher on our team, because you're not, Wilson Contreras isn't a star that's going to help you make the playoffs. I think they're going to be looking for younger players, and we look at the Cubs, their prospect pool is absolutely drained. So I think all of these rumors that have been floated out there for Arenado to the Cubs are truly full of shit. And I not that I like I'm
it.
saying Rosenthal and Morosi are. I think they're they're obviously doing their job. But I truly think that this is something that is either being floated out by the Cardinals, being like, hey, oh yeah, we heard the Rockies mentioned the Cubs are on there. Like, I think that there are ways to at least, or the Rockies are throwing, sorry, I flipped that over. I think the Rockies are throwing out there like, oh, hey, we're talking to the Cubs. Because there's the possibility of trades.
Raise their trade
mainly pool. The Cardinals, like, they get more interested because, he might go in the division. Let's go after him. So I think the Rockies could be firing off things that if Arenado made an in-house trade request, the Rockies trying to up their trade return for Arenado, and that's why the Cubs' names are being floated out there.
I mean,
I doubt they trade for Arenado.
I could totally see it, and I just the one thing is, like I said, I don't want Arenado on the Cubs. It's not like I'm pushing for him to be in a Cub uniform. Yeah. There's just something when I saw because the two teams that I saw that were at the front of the pack were the Cardinals and the Rangers.
Right.
With the Cardinals being the top team that could land him, I kind of got a little worried of I don't want him going to the Cardinals because that would just be not good for us. Go to the Rangers, go to the AL all you want.
Yeah.
Don't have to see except for 2 series a year. Whereas with the Cardinals, that would make them a better team. We already know this division where the Brewers, it'll be interesting to see how they feel, how they do this year, because obviously Southside took a big piece from them. And then also we were not even top of the division last year. Cardinals were top of the division last year, and they're just going to get better with Arenado. So it's for me, it's more of I don't even think he becomes a Cub. I agree with Sean. My worry is that, and should Cub fans worry, yes, that he's going to become a Cardinal. That's the mindset I'm on.
I think one thing that would at least ease Cubs fans' worries is with an Arenado trade, there's talks that the reason why the Cardinals went after Liberatore especially is that the new GM of the Red Sox used to work with the Rays, and he was very high on Liberatore, so that would mean that recently arbitrated $27 million player, Mookie Betts, could be a player that the Cardinals could be interested in, and that's why they went out to get Liberatore specifically from the Rays to improve their trade package to the Red Sox. So that could be a thing that could ease your worries there, is that they're not going after a third baseman, they're going after an outfielder, they're going after Mookie.
Which that don't want Mookie on the team either.
This is a team that is a small market that didn't sign their guy, Albert Pujols, to a long-term deal. The biggest move that they went out and made money-wise is Paul Goldschmidt. I'd find it tough that this Cardinals ownership would go out and get another big player like a Mookie Betts and like a Nolan Arenado, especially Arenado since he is long-term locked up for 8 years,
especially after
260 or 280, whatever.
Our division last year.
Yeah, they seem like a team that would like to build in-house typically, and I would find it hard to believe that they would go after Arenado, especially with the contract salary that he has. With the Cubs, I think that their moves are going to be, we're trading Bryant, we're trading Contreras. It seems like Baez is mainly off the table so far. It seems like his name's kind of fallen out of trade talks. It seems like Contreras has fallen out of trade talks too. It just seems like those have quieted down. Rizzo, I think, was a name that was thrown out there, but the Cubs would never, ever be able to get the value that he provides to the Cubs in a trade, and that's why he's never going to be traded. He's a good first baseman, but he's the guy for the Cubs.
Yep.
So they're never going to be.
Rizzo.
It's like the Yankees. Yankees are never going to be able to. The Yankees would never be able to get fair trade value for Jeter, although they had a better player in A-Rod. They would never be able to get trade value for Jeter because Jeter was the captain, or however you want to believe that. He was like the Yankee, Mr. Yankee, at least for the past 30 years if we're looking back there, unless you want to say Donnie Baseball and Don Mattingly, but I'd probably say Jeter or Rivera would probably be taking the cake there. Rizzo is like that type of player for the Cubs. Obviously, Jeter had way more success than Rizzo. And one's a unanimous Hall of Famer, and one's Anthony Rizzo. But yeah, I think that Bryant is going to probably be the guy that ends up being traded, and I don't think it's going to be for an MLB-ready guy. I don't think it's going to be like a star for, like an Arenado. I think it's likely going to be young players.
Also, our boy Sam in the in chat predicting that the Cardinals make a big signing or trade within the month.
I mean,
that's what he's thinking.
The big signing would
also,
possibly
Jake said
be...
Jeter never cheated. Take it back.
Because I said A-Rod, but A-Rod, even if he didn't cheat, was still a better player. One guy came in his rookie year and hit 364, so Jeter wishes he could be A-Rod. One was also a better defender, and that was Alex Rodriguez. Just look at the stats. Thank you very much. Also, one was a more athletic player and also the greatest baseball player of my generation, maybe outside of Bonds. But Rodriguez was coming up where Bonds was already... 41 years old. 41 years old, where A-Rod was
dingers.
Getting 250
My name's Big
from the Rays,
and I like to
from the
hit
Rangers.
dingers.
I think that At least with this, though, I think that the Cubs are likely just going to look for young pitching in a Chris Bryant deal. And you were talking about the arbitration number, how like that kind of eased your mind that maybe he'll be a Cub. Well, I wouldn't be shocked if he started on the opening day roster because it doesn't seem like a trade arbitration.
Like the headline I saw was just, I was like, from what I understood or assumed from the articles, they came to a deal and avoided arbitration, which was not true.
What would have been the right headline for you at least would be that the Cubs signed an extension.
Yes,
arbitration was happening no matter what. Where an extension means that, especially one longer than 2 years, because 2 years then kind of secures that he at least has a base salary, and you don't have to do this again next year. So if you got him for 18 this year and then 26 next year, that would have been a good sign because at least these two teams are talking. That could possibly mean an extension is coming. Then maybe Chris Bryant comes off the trade market. This just means that he has a salary and that if a team trades for him, they're paying him $18.6 million this year, and then they're going to have to deal with arbitration next year with him unless he wins his grievance, which means then he's making $18.6 million and then becoming a free agent.
He's not going to win that? The Cubs
the CBA is, I mean, the Cubs were in the right to make that move. The Cubs were not out of line going and keeping him down until the 2 weeks came up or whatever.
That's more of like when the next CBA comes up, hey, how about we tweak this?
Yeah, I mean, that's what Brian is trying to make a push for younger players not to have to deal with what he did. And that's why we see the Sox signing Eloy to an extension and Robert to an extension, or Robert to an extension, so they can just play him right away opening day. And they possibly won't be liable for a lawsuit if anything is affected by this.
Spit in the players' faces by being smart.
What's up?
It was more of a, I kind of treat it as like a loyalty thing. It's like it's a player friendly deal because they could, if they wanted, wait it out, bring him in 20 days into the year, and then we've got you on lock again. Like, that's the thing.
And you have very high hopes for a guy like Luis Robert, right?
Yeah.
And you just look at what, if he hits his peak, which we think he could be a 40-40 player with his speed and his power, he could possibly be, if the team is very good, we know that matters to MLB writers, that could be a guy that could win, an MVP at his peak if he does hit everything. And I do want to check just real quick, what is his contract? I think his highest that he can earn is $88 million. We see Mookie Betts, a guy that didn't hit 40-40, hit worse than that, but was still one of the best on-base guys that got on base in the MLB that year and won an MVP. He just got $27 million. So that could just be a way to also extend the guy, make sure he gets his money up front if he doesn't hit it, but also you get an MVP player possibly on the cheap. But yeah, so 2027, the year that like Mookie is in right now, and 2026, he'd be making $20 million and $20 million, where Mookie that's $7 million cheaper than what Mookie's making right now. So you're talking about 8 years from now, paying an MVP $20 million. That's a steal. So that's why the White Sox did it. It's a smart move, and also they can get out of that because there's two team options on those last two deals. So right now he's only 6 for 50, and if he's hitting MVP caliber level in that 6th year, you're paying him $20 million for the next 2 years for an MVP player. Like, that's a steal.
Absolutely agree.
So where if the Cubs did that year one, we might not even be talking about this because they might already have a great relationship with Boris and Bryant. Boom. But they didn't do that.
So with all that on the table, Arenado seems like a non-starter even. It was just the hope that maybe you could jump in front of something for another team to try to prevent them the Cardinals taking him.
For the Cubs, I think the Arenado thing is, I don't think they were ever in play for Arenado.
Okay.
That's what I think it was. And I think Arenado is a name that now Cubs fans have in mind because it was thrown out there by the media. And I think it was mainly probably likely thrown out by someone that works with the Rockies to draw up the Cardinals' interest in Nolan Arenado, because that's a team that could possibly trade for him. They have the great prospects to do so. They need a third baseman, where the Cubs are kind of in this limbo where they don't even have a direction.
That's what I was going to ask. So Cubs convention's coming up on the 17th, and I saw a note out there that there's no talk to the ownership session this year round, which interesting with Ricketts in the comments. And what do you think that this team needs to do in the remaining bits of this offseason, Ricky?
I mean, for me, the thing I would love to see is, I would honestly, as a fan, I would love for Chris Bryant to be a Cub and just be a Cub. But I don't think
can they squash that beef?
I don't think it happens in the offseason if there is beef, major beef between them. But
the beef, the way you squash a beef is give them money.
Yeah, which I don't. It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen because this team went 100% over their budget on their stadium renovations, and they don't want to
There's no big move that the Cubs need to do. We've got our infield locked down. Like, the biggest thing for me is bullpen help. Like, for right now, we do. For this season,
yes.
For this season, we do.
You don't need to make a move. You're correct on that.
We don't need to make a move until like the season starts. To me, it's the bullpen that I worry about.
You don't have a second baseman.
Yeah.
Unless you want to unless you want to play Horner. You have a possible second baseman.
I forgot that Castellanos is still a free agent.
He's not even a second baseman.
He's an
Well, I mean, he would and we got rid of Addison Russell, obviously. Who would have been
he sucked.
infielder.
He was a bad player.
Not debating it.
No, but I mean that's why. But so right now, and Zobrist hasn't been signed. Zobrist isn't even sure if he's going to play. But right now, if you're gonna roll in, not making any moves, you're gonna play Horner.
Yeah, I mean, because you're not gonna Ian Happ isn't it? Like, he's an interesting one, but you're not going to start him.
Second base.
But you're not. I don't think
he was better when he got called up, but he didn't get consistent.
Yeah, but I like this. We're gonna play him in the outfield, then at second, and then David Bodie. I probably would play Nico over David. So yeah, that's but
Bodie's a bad fielder.
But who can we at this point in the game? Who's out there that we're gonna go ahead and pay free agency wise?
Nobody.
Yeah, that's the point.
You're not paying for free agency.
There's no moves out there.
You're paying for the players on your team.
Yeah, I know.
No, I know. But I'm just backing up your point.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm so used to us being at ends at stuff.
Even when you agree.
Even when we agree. That I can't understand it.
Jake, is this... He said Glaber in the chat. I think
he's saying Glaber because the Cubs traded Glaber.
Jake.
So Glaber would be a great second baseman right now, but they went out and got Chapman.
We needed to get him for Aroldis Chapman.
Yeah,
I got
that was the only way you're winning a World Series, if you got Aroldis Chapman.
I brought up at nauseum when Jake and I would play MLB The Show at 4 a.m. how I would play as Glaber Torres and be like, man, I wish he was a Cub still. Mm-hmm. But I understand we don't get that ring without trading him.
So I guess in that case, you guys are stuck with who you brought unless you can find that Bryant deal for some younger prospects. Sean's thinking.
And it's probably,
do you think there's
I like the Dodgers because the Dodgers have some young pitching prospects that could help us.
I don't know.
I think Josiah Gray is one of their prospects. That's really nice.
The Dodgers are interesting just because it doesn't seem like they're willing to spend either this free agency, and I don't know what their play is. Mm-hmm. They've been in Mookie talks as well.
Do you think they moved Jock?
Yep.
Because that's been some of the rumors.
He probably would have moved him already.
True. Good
I don't know what they're truly looking for in Jock. I mean, that's just the name that, again, he's
a big name.
He came out, he's not that big of a name. Relax.
I mean, not like a Chris Bryant, but he's a name that could get the clicks moving.
Yeah. I think in certain markets he is the White Sox because everybody. He's a right fielder that can hit for power. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if he's that click. I don't. If he wasn't in home run derbies, he would just be another guy.
But he is in home run derby, so he's more than just a guy.
But that doesn't mean he's a good baseball player. You know what I'm saying? Just because you're in a home run derby doesn't mean you're a great baseball player. I'm just saying it's a name that
Miguel
Tejada won a home run derby.
It's a name that people could recognize and be like, ooh, what's the news on Jock? It's not like a Chris Bryant or an Arenado, but it's bigger than a normal guy. He's not just some guy.
Okay. Wow, Sean's getting heliumed up over there.
He's some guy with he is a worse baseball player than Yasiel Puig, has lesser of a name than Puig.
Yep.
So he's a little bit worse than Puig.
That's what you said 3 times now. Yep.
So I don't know. I with the Cubs and the Dodgers, it could be a deal that could be explored. I wouldn't knock them out. Outside of that, I think the Rangers clearly want to make a move with their new stadium. And I think you also cannot knock out the Nationals unless they sign Josh Donaldson. You also can't knock out the Braves, too, because they still look for their base help. So I think those would be the teams that you're looking for. But also, I wouldn't be shocked if some random team came in here and just traded for him. Because, you look at Toronto was making a move. They went out and got Hyun-Jin Ryu. If you have Chris Bryant as your veteran guy, you play him in left field. I don't really want him in the Astroderm turf you got playing left field, eating up his knees. But he is a guy that I think could exploit that ballpark. Yep. I think that his double hitting ability would destroy in those gaps in Toronto.
Absolutely.
And you then have Bo Bichette, you have Vlad Jr., and then you have Calvin Biggio, you have Lourdes Gurriel. Gurriel would probably play left field, and then you put Bryant in right field. I think they could be a team that also has a ton of prospects that could make a move too. So I wouldn't rule out even some of these teams that aren't like playoff teams yet, because if they're gonna go, if the Blue Jays are gonna spend any money, why not spend it on a guy like Chris Bryant? And it could be the idea too of the White Sox trading for Manny Machado, get him here for 2 years. Let's see if he likes this place.
Yeah, I kind of like that. Ricky, final thought.
Well, before we close up, I forgot for Bulls segment, I had someone tweeted at us a Bulls trade, and I wanted Sean to react to it.
God.
Oh, sure.
So this comes to us. He tweeted at MVP and at me personally. His name is Anthony Marino.
Thank you for listening, Anthony Marino.
He wrote
we really appreciate your listenership.
He wrote on CelticsBlog.com, where he wrote an article.
Probably a great site.
With this trade, I can't wait for you to react to it. The Bulls get Cat, Jay Green, Ogile, and Tremont Waters.
Can I read this? Because you're...
No, he literally put Jay Green. That's what he put, Jay Green. Jay Green. Jared Green? Whoever Green is on the Celtics.
Jay Green.
Yeah, Jay Green. Literally put Jay Green. Ogile and Waters.
Semi. So the Bulls get Cat, Semi, and Tremont Waters.
Yes.
Who's Jay Green?
I don't know. The Celtics would
Javante
Green.
Okay.
Out of Radford.
The Celtics would
Didn't watch a lot of Radford basketball.
So the Celtics then would get Wendell Carter Jr. And Lauri Markkanen. And Minnesota. Here's the kicker. You want to know what Minnesota's getting? They get Levine back. Along with Memphis's one. Milwaukee's one. Boston's one. Chicago's one.
4 firsts.
/ likely 2 2s. So maybe the Chicago is 2 2s.
So they get 4 firsts, basically.
So they get 4 firsts in Levine. The Bulls give up Wendell and Lowry to the Celtics to get Cat, Green, Ogile, and Waters.
I'm assuming this was prior to the Wendell injury.
This was January 11th at 4:41 a.m.
Which is today.
Yeah. So I don't think that is a deal that could be made due to the fact that Wendell Carter Jr. is injured.
You can trade injured players.
You could trade him, but I think with a high ankle sprain going to the Celtics would want a player that could actually help them right now, and I think that's why the deal is not made.
That's spicy.
I was expecting a bigger reaction out of Sean
I respect our listeners.
Sean,
I appreciate
last
that
year's reactions.
And Zach LaVine is fair for Cat. Do you think the price of 4 firsts and someone like Zach
4 firsts
LaVine
would have to happen? So that part's not wrong. And the fact that you get Memphis's top 6 protected?
Yes.
Right? So you're possibly getting 2 top 10 first round picks.
Yeah.
2 top, and then you're getting 2 20s.
I just don't know why the Bulls would give up
20s.
Lowry, Zach, and Wendell for Cat.
And a first.
And a first for Cat.
Yeah,
I think that's too much. For me as a Bulls fan, that's where I get angry at it. Like, no, we're giving up too much.
I don't disagree with that, but also Cat gets you to the playoffs more than Levine does.
I don't know. Cat hasn't gotten anybody to the playoffs.
Jimmy got him to the playoffs.
Jimmy got him to the playoffs. And the bench.
That's fair.
Jimmy and the third stringers.
Yeah.
Got Cat.
That's an interesting one, actually.
It is a trade.
That's a spicy nugget at the end. It's just like,
It's a trade that will not happen. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
That's too many moving parts.
Yeah. I mean, the
Cat's not getting moved. For 4 years of control, I would absolutely take that over.
The Celtics I don't see them trading picks.
That's too many.
When are the Celtics going to trade picks? That's my thing.
What?
I'll believe it when I see it for the Celtics.
Also, why would the
balls.
Celtics just want Cat? Why would they want?
They'd want Lowry and Wendell.
Why would they want that?
And they'd have to give up all those players, and then
all those players
other
don't
picks.
do anything.
Yeah.
None of those
Good
players
point.
are actual.
Semi's the only guy I think that he actually plays minutes for them. So
That's an interesting one.
It was a weird one.
Are the Celtics giving up enough?
They're giving
all
up
the picks.
Oh yeah, the Grizzlies and then the first. Yeah, I mean like value wise, I don't know.
They're giving
if
up
it's
3
bad.
of their first round picks.
See,
this
that's
year.
how
too
I'm
many
like,
moving
the
parts.
scales are kind of balancing out. I don't know. It's interesting though. I agree with you. Anyway, it's been an interesting show today.
You get a good defender, and you get a guy who can set picks, and you get a guy who can rebound in Wendell.
Yeah,
I think.
And then you get an
Markkanen's
outside stretch forward.
Extremely overrated. But you don't have to give up Hayward.
40-80, I take it back. I don't know.
Too many moving parts.
Too many moving parts to be realistic, but I kind of like where he's going with that. It shakes up all three teams. Can we agree with that?
It does.
All three teams have different futures vastly from that, so that's a cool one to end
And then
on.
bring D Rose in. Have D Rose and Ken on the same team.
It. Thank you for
if
joining us.
If you're the Bulls and there's a way you could stretch this to be like we gave up, a 7th to get Karl-Anthony Towns, which the 7th overall pick to get Karl-Anthony Towns.
I mean,
I don't know.
That'd be spicy. All right. That's it. That'll wrap it up for the day. It's been fun. We've had 3.5 hours with you guys today doing the live stream on Twitch. If you guys watching on YouTube want to check us out, our schedule is up on our Twitch page. Most available podcasts.
Might have to change it.
And we're changing possibly to Fridays, right?
Yeah, we might be
I'm
our stop
all-
on Friday nights.
I'm working all weekends now, so
Yeah, I mean,
we'll see.
you guys aren't going out on Friday nights. You want to come in, staying with us.
You're not going out. You guys don't have lives.
We had our most viewerships on a Saturday night.
Yeah. So again, just check us out. Follow us
You
on
mean
Twitter.
on a Friday night?
No, we did it last night on a Saturday night. We had
Last
most
week.
No, we
viewers
did it
last
on a
week.
Friday night last week.
It was a Friday night.
It was a Friday night.
Yeah, it was
That's
a Friday
why when
night.
you said Saturday night, I was like, no, it was a
we
Friday
finished
night.
up. I mean, we finished up on Saturday morning.
I don't know what day it is.
Yeah, Sam, totally forgot that. Wow.
All right, I'm gonna try to wrap it up one more time. It's like the
go ahead.
time.
I'm not gonna talk.
Check us out on Twitch. Check us out on Twitter to stay up to date with our schedule. I think Ricky's got everything posted. He keeps things very up to date there. Thank you again for everybody in Twitch chat. Jake, Sam, and Easy was in there a little bit earlier. I appreciate it. Scrolling up. Sean's killing us.
No, they can't.
Wow.
I didn't know it was so sensitive that you just
Yeah,
tap
I know.
things.
I did that during Wet Boys, and
It was ridiculous.
Dave's.
I didn't even click.
I
Yeah.
quit. That's the end of the show. See you guys next week.